Well, thank you everyone for showing up. We know January is super busy and especially on Mondays, it's busy. So we appreciate everyone's time today. And for those who couldn't make it, we will obviously have a recording of this that can be sent out as well. But I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Kyle, and I'm one of the partners here at Keepbooked. We do digital marketing. Most of you on this call are aware of that because you're Keep Up customers. So the big introduction is going to be Miss Katie. Katie, if you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about you.
Sure, absolutely. I am what is called the client relations coordinator, and I'm also a strategic coach here at Mastermind. Been working with the Anytime Fitness brand since 2022. Prior to that, was in more of the boutique style. I ran several Club Pilates for several years. Kind of became a little bit of a guru in the referrals and what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm excited to meet some of you I've not met yet, but for some of you I already know. It's great to see you.
Awesome. Well, today we are going to be talking about referrals. We we debated what to do the call on, and Chad from Mastermind had said, "Hey, listen, something everyone needs to focus on in February is mastering referrals. January is a big month for signups, and February can be an even bigger month if we get just a few referrals from each person who signed up in January." And so Chad said, "Hey, listen, Katie is one of the pros when it comes to referrals." And so that's why Miss Katie's on the call. And so we're just going to do this like we've done a few other calls, more of a Q&A back and forth with Katie and I. I think if I'm going to be honest, referrals is something in the clubs that I've struggled with. And so I'm excited to learn and understand and ask her questions just as much as probably everybody else is on the call. And so we will get started with that. So, Katie, I just wanted to start with a very basic question
Mhm.
for those on the call that have tried referrals or who maybe think they have a referral program, but it's not generating that many referrals. Where would a club even start? Like, from if you wanted to start doing referrals in February, what's step one?
So, with your referral programs, before you can kind of say go forth and do it, right, to all of your team, the first thing that you have to make sure that you have in place with your team is understanding how to actually ask for referrals. What does that sound like? Where is the best time to do it? When is the best time to do it? How often should I be doing it? And we need to practice that. You should be role playing with your team. Your manager should be role playing. It should be a continual thing that's always being improved upon. And then you need to set your expectations for what your referral looks like inside of your clubs. The only way that you guys can actually inspect those expectations is if your team understands what they look like on a full scope. And so before I can say, you've got to be able to hit this mark and this mark in the club, it starts with your team and then it rolls out.
Awesome. Um, and key points to land here, like start with the team. Um, Katie, when we've done this in the past, we started with the team, we've role played a little bit, and then we've kind of said, all right, let's do this. And sometimes we always haven't had the best results there.
Mhm.
Um, so obviously, we want to start with staff training and the role playing. But can you tell me a little bit more about inspecting what you expect to? Like, how can an owner, once they've got this started, how can they make sure that that what they're expecting to go on is going on?
So I would say consistency is usually the biggest issue when it comes to referrals. We may focus really hard on it this month. Everyone's talking about it for February. We do a pretty solid job of it in February. And for us that are in the leadership seat, you may think, okay, my team's got it. I don't have to talk about it every single day now. I can start focusing on some other things. Some other things need my attention. And we kind of shift our mindset a little bit. The team does the same thing. That referral system doesn't become quite as important anymore because we're not talking about it as much. And suddenly it's taking a back seat or we're not getting any. So consistency is key. I think you have to make sure that it's a part of your everyday. And one of the ways to do that, Kyle, I would say is in your actual process. So from the telephone inquiry when you call to book an appointment with someone all the way down to sign up, member retention check-ins and so forth as they're a member with you, it's got to be a part of that full member life cycle.
Okay, brilliant. And can you tell me a little bit more about like what has to be in place before you start doing this as far as staff training, role playing? What should they be working on now to roll this out in February?
So I would say one of the first things that your team is going to feel confident in speaking to is probably the incentive behind your referral. A lot of clubs do, a free month for the member that referred the new member, that sort of thing. Let's get that locked in, make sure everyone understands what it is, the value behind that even. And then the other piece would be kind of tackling where maybe your team's fear might be and asking for those actual referrals. Why do they hesitate? Why do they kind of come up short when they do try to do it? Go ahead and addressing those head on and helping them with it, because that's going to be the only way they really get past it.
Okay, brilliant. And what would you say is the biggest mistake that clubs make early on when rolling out a referral program?
I would say probably not utilizing a multi-point touch system on it. So, like I said, you can absolutely only ask when you sign up a new member or when they've been a member with you for a really long time and you know them pretty well and you just casually bring it up one day. But realistically, there's quite a few great times throughout the member life cycle to bring it up and actually ask for referrals and having follow ups even put in. If you just focus on one opportunity, you're probably going to have a low turnout from it. But if I have multi points where I ask for them, I'm going to create a better system.
Okay, awesome. So that goes in my next question. Like, how many times should you bring up referrals? When should you bring them up? And how do you bring it up early without making it awkward?
Yeah. So, here's the thing. There are going to be times where it is awkward, and that is a-okay. It's also awkward to sell sometimes, right? Like these things are just normal. I would say the earliest that you can absolutely bring a referral or your buddy incentive or whatever you like to call your program. The earliest I can think of would be if I'm calling a lead to book an appointment. One of the 4 telephone inquiry questions that I coach around is, are you looking for just yourself or are you looking for yourself and others today? And that alone gives me kind of a little bit of information on, oh, well, I'm looking for just myself, or, I've got a husband that I'd want to bring with me probably, but today it's just me. I'm getting that kind of information gathering stage over with to where when they come in and I actually meet them in person and I'm giving them their intake process, I'm giving them their tour, and I start casually bringing it back up again. And I actually go to ask for it at the point of sale when I'm walking them through their app, even that is going to give me a better result at the end versus waiting until that very last second to say, oh, by the way, do you have anyone that you would like to refer today so you can get a free month? I didn't do a lot of value building. I really didn't plant the seed enough to where they actually understand where I'm coming from and have been thinking about people that entire time.
Okay, brilliant. So I wrote down starts with the telephone inquiry
Yep.
before they even come into the gym. Then we're going to talk about it on the tour. Can you just role play a little bit with like how you would bring this up on the tour for, I know that like Jeff specifically has a bunch of his staff on here who are
Yeah.
doing tours. Like how do you work that into a tour?
Yeah, so I think one of the easiest ways to do it is probably even a little before the tour, but if you're doing an intake process and you talk about support systems, right? You talk about who knew that they were coming in today, who knew that this goal that we're discussing is so important to you. I would even ask them in that moment, well, what does that person currently do for themselves? Are they currently doing a program? Do they belong to another gym? Would they be coming with you? And I don't have to in the moment right there say, okay, Cal, give me their name. I don't need it right that
Yeah.
second, but I can go ahead and again collect the information, kind of file it away, make my little note about it. And at the end of our conversation, when you're signing up for your membership, I can remind you about your friend and see if you want to bring them in with you, see how we can go about getting that set up. Right. So I think that's probably the easiest and smoothest transition. Some of the other things that might happen is on your tour, you may see 2 people working out that are friends, maybe they're a couple, whatever it is, and you can point that out, tie it back into that buddy program. Doesn't always happen like that. It's not always perfect, but
Yeah.
sometimes it does happen and it's so easy to do that. And then you also have your app that you can send out your digital guest waivers on. And so utilizing that even to your benefit.
Okay, awesome. So telephone inquiry, you talked about how to bring it up on the tour or even during the intake.
Mhm.
Now, and you touched on this a bit, but at point of sale, so we've talked to them, we learned all about their goal, what's important. We gave them a custom tour, and now we're at point of sale and we're signing them up. So how do you wait till they're signed up? Do you mention it like while you're signing them up? Tell us more about what you do at point of sale.
Yeah, so there's a couple things with point of sale. One of the things when I was in the Pilates scope, we were actually required to ask for five. We had to ask for five referrals at sign up every single time. And the reason for it was not because we expected to get five people from everyone, but it had been proven. We knew that if I asked for more, I was at least likely to get a couple, right? So we knew if we asked for five, we might get three. If I asked for three, I might get one. If I just ask for one person, it's so easy for it to be, no, I'm so sorry, I'll let you know later. And they kind of leave, right? And it's a little awkward. It's even more awkward in that moment. So we got really comfortable for asking that big number, and that definitely helped us. But for the current setup inside of Anytimes, I would say you have a really great feature inside of your Anytime Fitness app. And for every single person that you were selling a membership to, I would take 2 seconds, help them get that app downloaded, help them get set up. And while we're going through it together, show them how to send one and even casually say, who do you want to send your first one to? I'll show you how to do it and walk them through the steps of doing it together. That's also going to help the new member feel more comfortable with using the app in that way versus not knowing what it might do, or if that signs their friend up for something they don't understand. You can be right there with them answering their questions and walking them through it.
Okay. Um, I have this one wrote down because I've heard this from staff before. Like asking for referrals at point of sale can be scary. How do
Mhm.
you coach staff to overcome like the fear of asking for this? And then a follow up to that would be, what do you do when a member says no when you ask?
Yeah. So I think the fear component of it, I always relate this and I think of it as like the sales piece too. Sometimes you meet a staff member who's a little scared to present pricing or make a recommendation to someone because they do fear the no. And I think you need to anticipate the no, not fear it. It's okay to be told no. World keeps spinning. Everyone's okay. It's to be expected, if anything else. Look forward to it even because then you get to get better at your skill set. You will never get comfortable in being told no if you don't kind of exist in that uncomfortable moment there. You've got to have that growth and you've got to be uncomfortable to see that growth. So I would anticipate it. And that is one of the things I would practice with my team a lot is going through some of the no's you may hear. Oh, I just moved here, Kyle, and I don't know anyone, can I let you know someone later? Or I don't have
Hmm.
friends. It's really awkward when someone but going through those moments with them and helping them have kind of a response that they're very comfortable with going with when they're told that helped them fear the no a little more or a little less because they actually knew how to respond to it. And then what was the second half
Really?
of your question?
Uh, like, what do you say to the member when they say no?
Yeah. So, couple of things is, the referral program for me, it never goes away. It's always continuing. And I'm going to check with that member regularly. So, one of the things that we used to say is that, oh, well, we'll check in with you in a couple weeks, see how your first few sessions are going, how your first few workouts are going. And if you think of someone between now and then, you let me know. Big thing for us was showing them how to submit the referral if they weren't right in front of me. Cause I did find that sometimes people felt a little on the spot. So they would wait until they were alone and then they would do it. So I made sure they would have the tools to do it if I wasn't there with them. For you guys, it would be the app, super easy to use. Or, I even told them they could text me that information if that was something they were comfortable with. But we utilized the resources we had on that.
Okay, perfect. And then I know there's several different ways to do a referral program, but for this kind of role play we're in, what if you were at an Anytime Fitness today and you were touring and signing someone up, what's the referral pitch, if you will, that you're going with? I know there's a buddy referral program, there's a bunch of different ways to word it. If you were working at a club right now, how would you word it? What are they referring this person to get or receive?
Yeah, so I think for me personally, sometimes I relate the word referral in a way I don't want the member to, but I really love hearing it be a part of like the member appreciation program and we give you ways to gift memberships to someone or to gift a sale to someone or something like that. The word gift in there can usually
Hmm.
land a little bit better with members. You hear referral and it kind of like does it fall flat? Sometimes, right? Sometimes they don't fully understand what we mean by that. A member appreciation program, that one of the elements is that we encourage all members to kind of spread that love. And here's one of the ways that we do it. And as a thank you, as a part of our member appreciation program, Kyle, we give you a free month for every single person that comes and says, "Hey, I know Kyle and I want to join because of him." I don't cap that personally. I want
Mhm.
to give out free months to you because that means you're spreading the word about what we do and why you love it. And that's a positive.
Brilliant. And then I would just note, and Katie, I'm sure you're on the same page as this,
Mhm.
you're giving a free month for everyone who signs up for a paying membership, not a
Yes.
PPV membership, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. That's a way that this can be, people can take advantage of this real easy. So
Very.
awesome. Okay. So we went through kind of the steps of when to ask, how often to talk about it and to ask for it. I want to talk a little bit about compliance and best practices.
Yes.
So, are there any legal compliance implications when collecting referral info and contacting referrals that anyone needs to know about?
There are. So, and I will say every state can be a little bit different on compliance. And I would really encourage you guys to read up and kind of look into your own individual state and location. But just kind of a good rule of thumb is that one of the reasons why you are sending out digital guest waivers now more than we should be just collecting someone's name and phone number is the compliance is around the person that is being referred needs to opt in to communication from us. And so I like to protect myself, right? I want to make sure that we're doing things appropriately. And so if that were the change that were happening for me right now, I would be leaning heavily into them opting in some way. Digital guest waiver is a great option for it. If I have another way of getting them to the website to opt themselves in, something like that, I would use that to my advantage. But on the flip side of that, one of the old school ways of collecting the name and number from people, I could contact that person, right? I could go ahead and say, "Hey, Kyle gave me your name and number. I'm calling you because you would be interested. And I want to get you scheduled, whatever." Right. Now I have to wait on them to want to talk to me. So I would be encouraging my member who referred them to help me do some of that work. Right. Because they benefit, they get the free month. So I would be absolutely talking to them about, "Okay, Kyle, you gave me Bob's information. Be sure and let him know that that came through, what to do with it. So I can give you your next month for free. We just need to get Bob in so he can get his membership."
Perfect. And if any club wants to Google it, I believe it's the PII, or Personable Identifiable Information Act. And
Yes.
so you could Google what your state's kind of compliance is with that. But that's very, very important. You don't want to be texting people that have not opted in. It's a great way to get sued. All right. Uh, there's no other way to put that, right?
That's
Um, just direct and straight to the point. Uh, Tracking and measuring referral success. So we talked a little bit in the beginning about inspecting what we expect, right? How important that is. That's like the number one thing that'll kill a referral program is doing some role play in the beginning, talking to your staff about it, and then just assuming they're doing it. Can you tell me more about how you track the referrals and how they inspect what they expect?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of different automated ways that you can do this, and then there's obviously more manual ways that you can do this. So from an automated perspective, obviously if Kyle sends his friend Bob the digital waiver, Bob opts in, Kyle's name is attached to it, I can track it automatically that way, right? If I'm manually going to keep up with it, to me, and anyone who works with Mastermind, you've probably already heard or might even be using the FXT, which is your new member tracker. I would add columns to that personally, and I might have a column that's, referral asked, referral gain, referral followed up with, different ways to kind of check the box on each new member to just see. And if I'm looking at my staff and I'm trying to see like how many actually got asked, how many actually were sent, where are we struggling, I can kind of pinpoint the pain point a little quicker if I have that and I coach them around the consistency of keeping that up to date, just like the consistency in them asking for it. And so that's an easy manual way of doing it. You can go so far as to having like a daily sheet that they fill out and submit at the end of the day. And it's one of the questions on there. Whatever you think you will check, whatever your team will actually complete for you. But the biggest thing, like I said in the beginning, is the consistency of it. And I need to be able to make sure that we are being consistent.
Okay. And then there's tracking. for an owner to track the staff, but then a staff member can also track the member who they asked to give out these referrals to, right?
Yeah.
So how do you follow up with members who sent the referral to increase show rates?
Yeah, so I come back to when I've signed you up and I know you sent out 1 or 2 of those for me, I'm gonna set the tone there of like, I'll check in with you in a week or so if I have not heard back from them because I wanna make sure that you get that free month, free 2 months, whatever, right? So as a part
Yeah.
of my new member cadence, I'm doing that. I'm checking in with you, 1, just to see how you're liking the gym. Do you have everything that you need? How is your FC? But I'm also going to be asking you about that friend that you mentioned or the friend that you sent it to and just let you know, haven't seen them come in yet. Is there anything I can help you with to make sure we get them in so that you get your blank, right? Whatever your incentive is.
Okay, brilliant. That kind of takes us to the next section, if you will. And I want to reference the slide we have up. I've been kind of saving this.
Mhm.
Like, what are the top 4 reasons to develop a referral program? So I come at this from like a lead generation perspective, right? In marketing. And so if you're a staff member or an owner, I want you to think of referrals are additional leads for you to work. And they should be some of the highest quality leads. So that's number one thing. Referrals genuinely bring in the highest quality members. Number two, they lower your acquisition cost. So if you sign up 50 people in January and you can get just one referral lead or one lead from every member that signed up in January, that's an extra 50 leads that you have in in February to work. So as a manager or a sales member of the staff, this is a great way to earn more sales commission with honestly less effort. This is such a better quality lead when you're calling and saying their friend or family member or neighbors already a member here. They're more likely to come in than just calling a lead that saw a Facebook ad. Uh, Three, it creates a stronger community, which creates stronger retention or lower attrition. So if people are working out with people they know, that's when your club has that great club culture or great community within your club. And then number 4, it builds in-brand trust, which is the hardest thing to buy. So when Julie joins your gym and she loves it and refers someone, the friend she refers, they already trust the brand because Julie trusts the brand. And so it's a great way to generate leads. And that leads into something that Mastermind says that I love and that I think we need to coach more often, but it's the 60-40 concept of leads. Sometimes when people hire a digital marketing company, they assume, hey, that's their job now to generate all my leads. But Mastermind would coach, and Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, but roughly 60% of your leads should come from a digital lead source, such as a marketing company, but 40% need to come from club generated leads, such as referrals, community outreach, um, uh, things like that. Katie, do you have, uh, you told me a story about when you worked at the Pilates studio and about how you guys didn't get a lot of digital leads. You had to do club generated leads and follow up and make phone calls. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes. So we were basically, if you think of how you guys walk in traffic and that sort of thing, we had a prime location, do not get me wrong, but walk in traffic was not a thing for us. If we did not prospect and if we did not have good quality leads, we could close our doors. I mean, that just really was what it came down to. And so, after kind of running numbers on our show percentage, our close percentage, and how long our members stay with us and that sort of thing, we actually figured out we had to make anywhere from 50 to 100 phone calls a day. We averaged about 80 a day. That was our minimum, because that would generate enough appointments for us per day, booked for future days, based on our show rate and our close rate for us to not just sustain the business, but grow at the same time, right? When we ran ads and we had kind of a company generating those leads for us, we only counted 60% of those in what we were doing. I think we were actually a little closer to 50% just with some of our areas. And so we had to have continual pop up events. We had to go and be a part of community things or have a partnership in some way. But the easiest one and the least time consuming one was referrals. And so it was every single time one of those appointments that we booked showed up and we closed them, we were asking for, and like I said before, we asked for 5, hoping to get 3, hoping to get 1 even. But we would ask for those referrals right there. And then we also included it in our new member cadence. We had a day 7, 14, 21, and 30 cadence that we sent out to new members. Just checking it with day 30 would say something like, hey, Kyle, you just crushed your first month. You've been so consistent. Thanks so much for being a part of us. We just want to remind you about our member appreciation program. And here's how you can refer friends so you get your next month for free. And we would kind of make it convenient for them to give us that information through a text message or, send them the link that they needed, whatever it was. And that really helped because, like I said, initially, sometimes people like hesitate to do it while you're standing there, but they will give you someone. So this was just another way for us to gain them. And realistically, like our members who stayed with us for 1 and 2 and 3 years, like they knew someone. They came from a referral or they brought people with them that made that more of like that community driven workout for them. And those were our best members overall.
Okay, awesome. I wrote down, this is a very true statement for everyone on the call. Marketing is getting harder and harder, and referrals help you win by multiplying your leads. So what I mean by that is this time of year can be frustrating for Anytime Fitness. We just got done with New Year's Eve, which is just a giant Planet Fitness party, if you will. And it's hard to see that when you're an Anytime owner or Anytime staff because they get so much attention. And I think it's important to understand some simple math. If every Anytime Fitness pays in roughly $600 a month to the general ad fund, that equals about 14 million a year that in advertising money that's paid into corporate. Planet Fitness's budget annually is around $200 million. And so Anytime Fitness as a brand, we just can't rely on digital leads or digital marketing alone. We literally need referrals to compete in the market that we find ourselves in today. With that being said, Katie, you talked about the difference between controllable versus uncontrollable marketing.
Mhm.
Can you tell everyone a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So when Kyle and I were talking, I told him, I said, you may hate that I'm about to say this, but I look at marketing in 2 buckets. I always have. And I think it's helped me kind of from a reminder standpoint that I am responsible for some of it and I need to go make that happen. So controllable and uncontrollable. Uncontrollable is I cannot control how many people walk through my door today. Can't control the weather, can't control that they want to come in, can't control any of that component. I also cannot control my digital ads performing the way that they're supposed to. I have zero control over the algorithm. I can't make people stop scrolling and give me their information. I can't make that happen. So the controllable piece is anything that I could stand up from this desk and go out and actually do on my own and make happen. Referrals is the easiest one. If I walk out the door in the club today, I should see a handful of people that I can walk straight up to and start that conversation and hopefully walk away with a couple of new leads, right? Or at least a lead to a lead, if you will. So I can actually physically make those things happen. The same way if I partnered at an event and I went and set up a table and people walked up and talked to me and I gained their information in that way. So if I always remember that I'm responsible for that 40%, right, of that 60-40 split, I'm responsible for that 40%. Suddenly the consistency of the referral piece never goes away because it's my free one to do. It takes zero additional dollars from me, but it does take a little bit of extra time from a coaching standpoint. But it'll be the best coaching that I did with my team because of what it can generate. If I work with Kyle and Kyle brings me in 50 leads this month that actually became members and I got, I doubled that number just from my referrals. I'm going to, 1, love working with Kyle. Those are some great people that you brought me. But 2, I'm going to continue to do so and double my business over time. So it's very much one that you have to spend some time on. Don't get me wrong, but it's your best use of time on the marketing side.
Perfect. And I know you were worried about saying that to me, but I loved it. I thought, hey, if you work with Keepbooked, like we control the digital marketing piece of that, right? You need to control what you can inside the club, and that's a strong message for everyone to remember. All right, operational reality. So we've talked about how to get referrals, right? And let's say a club has got a bunch of referrals now. Can you tell us more about, you talked a little bit about it with your example with the Pilates studio you worked at. but calls and prospecting expectations.
Yes. So, in general, around referrals, I am treating that because, like we talked about, they're the highest quality member that I can gain. They're very low cost for me to actually do. So what I want to make sure that I'm doing is treating that referral lead that I got with, I mean, just white glove treatment, right? Like I'm taking care of them. I'm all over it when I get the information. Mike, I saw your question. I know you were asking, how we actually know when they come into the system too. And I think the only way to know is if they actually click and submit their information when that text goes out to them. It funnels back into Club OS for you, and it'll have that referral attached to it. And so when I see that, I need to be all over it. It gets my number one priority of the day type of mentality. And when I am calling them, I'm mentioning the friend that referred them, right? Because that's going to make them feel more comfortable to talk to me. That could have been a big step for them. It could be intimidating for them. So I need to make sure that I'm mentioning that, hey, Kyle actually was the one that had sent that out to you. I'm the one that helped Kyle set up that day. So I wanted to call to introduce myself. And I'm going through my TI or my telephone inquiry style of questions because at that point they are a lead. I just have a little bit more information about them initially from the jump. And so my first things first is book that appointment. I'm calling to learn about you, get a couple answers to my questions, and book that appointment so that I get to give you that same 5-star treatment I gave your friend that referred you. And then I want that cycle to continue with every person that they refer.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like Mike has a question. I just wanted to recap a little bit about what we went over, and then people can ask questions in any one of these like 8 specific sections today. So, start with why. Why are referrals important? I think we covered that pretty clearly. The training and role playing aspect of it is super, super important. We need to build this into the member journey and understand how to do that. We need to ask without feeling weird. We need to understand the compliance and best practices for our specific state. We need to be able to track and measure the success of a referral program. We need to understand the importance of doubling the amount of leads we get via walk-ins or digital leads. And then we need to understand the operational reality of, hey, just getting a referral is not enough. We're going to have to call and follow up and call and follow up with all these people. So with that being said, we have a bunch of time here for Q&A, and I hope that people um, ask a bunch of questions here because Katie's done this. She coaches this every day. And I know from Keepbook's perspective, when we talk to people about their specific referral program, um, people, I think, a lot of times say they have one, but they don't have it mapped out. They don't have SOPs for it. They're not inspecting and tracking it. So ask away. Katie's the pro here. I'm excited to hear everyone's questions.
Yeah, I just saw Eric dropped one in the chat. So Eric's question there. Oh my goodness, look at that. I don't know if that popped up big for everybody else, but it did for me. What's the best incentive you offered for a referral? So free month, free PT session, pretty standard, anything that moves the needle. So I think from a membership perspective, your easiest, most simple, if you will, is that free month for a new member, right? Now, one thing we didn't touch on, and we would do every other quarter or so, maybe twice a year, was more of a volume incentive on referrals, and we may have like a raffle or something like that. I've given away many a Yeti cooler, and there was always a referral incentive wrapped around it. And so, obviously, for every person that referred someone, they got an entry in to win. The person came in and signed up. I'd give them 2 more entries. I'd give the new member 2 extra entries. Like we would do fun stuff like that too, just to kind of keep it exciting throughout the year. But it never took replace of our just consistency, and we were always trying to collect them and asking for them. The PT side of it, so, I don't want to give a free month of PT. I have a hard time with that one. But what I will absolutely do is give that member a free month of their membership and throw a few extra sessions for them next month. And I would absolutely do 2 or 3, to be completely honest with you. That's also giving me an opportunity to maybe upgrade them down the road if they start coming in 3 times a week consistently for that month. They get really used to it. They like that a lot. And now suddenly maybe they want to actually do more on their PT side. And you can obviously do something for the new member on the PT side as well if you think that that's an interest for them. Mike said, what can
Awesome.
we actually track other than once the lead comes in? So, Mike, that would to me come back to more of the manual tracking with the team. So they can manually track which new members that they asked for the referral and they know actually sent out that digital guest pass, and then put it in as a part of your daily to follow up with those members that sent those out to kind of help them work their friends for you, if you will. There's not, I'm sure there's a better way of saying that, but to get them to kind of help work those leads with you and get them through. And then obviously, yeah, when they actually submit their information and it pops up on that, that'll be the other automated tracking. Sure.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else have any questions or something I would love to hear too is if there's anyone on the call who's done a good job with referrals and can share any tricks or tips that they've learned or mastered over the years. There's a bunch of different ways to do this.
So I want to react. I had a question. First of all, thank you. You did a great job. I appreciate this. My staff needed this and myself. Um, when we were just talking about this one of my Tennessee clubs last week, have you ever, and you mentioned it a little bit touched, as far as the referrals, giving a training session or two, have you ever done that or tried that? And if so, how did that work out for you when you did it? Versus,
Yes. So I can say in the Pilates scope, because our Pilates programs, the way that we sold them are very similar to how you do SGT, almost identical, honestly. Number of times a week, all of that price point. So when we would do that to our members, now we would comp a free month. Now we would have members that they just refer people all the time. And so I would give the additional sessions as kind of like an extra there. And anytime my clubs that do that piece of it, they see a really good turnaround for them because the members almost just expecting the free month. So then when you also say, I'm going to give you 2 extra free sessions for next month or, 1 extra next month or something like that, it's kind of like oh, okay, thanks. Like it's just an additional value for them. And I'm not having that happen every single month to where it's like impacting my payroll in a negative way. And hopefully they're just being fed into an SGT, to be honest. So it's a good incentive for the referring member and client to kind of keep doing that for you. It's a high quality friend that they're sending your way.
yeah. And I also look at if I have a training client that can only afford once a week or none, the fact that if he referred somebody, he gets a free training session or two
Yeah.
sessions, whatever. And as far as the management side, that's less than a free month and it's still a value. But I was just wondering if you ever next we're looking at doing something different. So
Hmm.
thank you very much for your feedback. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Jameson, I see your hand.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Jameson. I'm actually one of the new strategic coaches at Mastermind and former multi-club owner at Anytime. And so I just wanted to chime in there. Um, we used to do full access memberships. So these referrals would get we actually did a 14-day pass, and they would get one free personal training session, which we knew was the fitness consultation, and 1 week of team training because we wanted to experience the group training benefits and one-on-one training. Uh, our conversion skyrocketed because obviously we all know that we're coaching clubs and they see more results. But from not giving the farm away perspective, I was very clear with the team members that if a trainer was compensated usually for the one-on-one training session or got bonuses for more people in team, we tracked those folks where they didn't get paid extra because they were just on a trial, but I would pay them if they actually converted to a member.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that way you're not, hurting yourself from a payroll perspective.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Eric, I think, or no, Ben has the next question. How many times a year would we run the standalone referral events? Personally, Ben, so we did it. We always did one in October, and that was really our big Yeti one that we would do, and we did it every year. I raffled off a pink Yeti in honor of breast cancer awareness. We would also make a donation to a local event for it and everything for that. And then we usually did one in the spring, so it was just 2 big ones for us. And I don't know if anyone else has done a big one or do more than that, but our spring one would be we have like a local baseball team, and we would raffle off nice seats for it, and that was the other one we did.
Awesome. Anybody else? I'm curious if everyone can put it in the chat because we have a little bit of time. Uh, just say yes if you feel like you guys are kicking ass at referrals currently. Ben, yes-ish. I love it.
Love it.
Okay. So it does look, Jeff, I see you. No, everyone needs to get a little bit better. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Katie, Jameson, maybe this is something we can do more often and talk
Mhm.
about referrals on these calls too, because clearly there's some really good operators and owners messaging here and saying that they need to work on this. And so just a reminder, a refresher, maybe once a quarter wouldn't be a bad thing to do. Jameson, since we have a little bit of time and there aren't that many questions, tell us more about that full access membership, because I love the language on that. We've heard it in the past, but some people might not have. You know, there's the free buddy or buddy referral program or full access membership. So if you were to role play that, uh, whether it's on the tour or at point of sale, if Katie were signing up, how are you explaining that to her in detail and creating value in that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but like the two of you already shared, like planting the seed earlier in the tour process. I had a rule where my manager, trainer, whoever is giving the tour, they try to mention it at least twice. So when they're qualifying, when they're walking around through the tour, mentioning, hey, by the way, keep in mind, the gym's more fun when you're surrounded by friends and family. So I have a really cool gift for you before you leave today. Just be thinking about who you might want to give that to. We'd actually have signage in the club for the full access memberships. So you could point to it and be like, oh, yeah, by the way, let me tell you about our buddy program. So we're sitting in the office, digital agreement signed out, fitness consultations booked. And then I would stop and say, all right, Kyle. So thank you. I know we just went through a lot. Before I walk you out front and make sure your key fob's working, I want to share with you one of my favorite things we do here at Anytime Fitness. We have a full access membership program. And so using this sheet right here, you can write down the names and numbers of 5 people in your life, brothers, sisters, neighbors, coworkers, people that you would love to see here. And more importantly, that you'd love to gift to. This 14-day access pass gives you 24/7 gym access, a 60-minute personal training session, 1 week of team training, and the best part is if they join, you get a free month, or if they join, you get a free month and they do too. If we're not a good fit for them long term, no hard feelings, but you are still a good friend trying to help them live a healthier way of life. Something like that.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Hmm.
I like that you create a lot of value in that with the 14 days, the 60-minute one-on-one or internally the FC, right? And then
Yeah.
the team training as well. So super.
And we try to, like in our clubs, like externally, and when it was customer facing, we didn't use the R word, you know,
Oh,
um,
okay.
yeah, we tried not to use referral because obviously there's negative connotations associated with that. Yeah.
Okay. I like that though. Like just kind of avoiding that because people, you know, have a negative impression of that. So just, hey, do you want to gift this full access membership? Brilliant. Brilliant. All right. Any other questions before we let everyone go? It does not look like it. Well, then we thank everyone. I want to say, hey, referrals are something that's tough. Uh, from a marketing perspective, life is easier on Keepbooked if clubs have a good referral program because they're getting leads off the leads we generate. And so if anyone needs help with this, with execution, with building a program, give Mastermind a call. They are the pros at this and they can certainly help. So I will give the pitch for them.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Kyle.